Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Skin Trade. The reason I wanted to see Skin Trade is because it stars Dolph Lundgren. It has the big, more starring vehicle return of Tony Jaa, even though he was in Furious 7. This film also stars Michael J. White, Peter Weller, and Ron Perlman as the villain, and that sounded like a juicy enough video-on-demand action movie for me. The video-on-demand action movie market can get pretty amazing if you've seen things like Ninja 2 Shadow of a Tear, and I was kind of hoping for something cool from this. Everything I'd seen in the trailer looked really awesome. The idea of having all these people together sounded like a really fun idea. I do like Tony Jaa quite a bit. I also love Dolph Lundgren from Rocky IV, and of course Masters of the Universe, which was a big movie for me growing up. And Michael J. White was both Spawn in the 90s Spawn movie, but also plays Black Dynamite on both the movie and the Adult Swim show. Also Peter Weller, who is RoboCop. I mean, it's just, how could you go wrong with these guys? And then this film is about trying to stop a human sex trafficking ring, and the seriousness of both the way the film takes this issue and the issue itself brings it down from being the real cheap beer quality that you really expect from video on demand action movies, and makes you feel kind of bummed out, like when you're hanging out with someone with cheap beer and then they bring up how horrible sex trafficking is, and you're kind of just waiting for someone to make a fart joke, or in this case, someone to punch someone else in the face. Dolph Lundgren is a New Jersey cop. He apprehends this one criminal who tells him that this Serbian gangster played by Ron Perlman is going to be coming to town soon, which is a little weird that a New Jersey cop would know who that is, but I'm guessing like one day he stayed late after work and there was an international crime seminar or something, I don't know. Or maybe he's heard of him. I don't live in the universe this movie takes place in. So then they set up a sting operation to get Ron Perlman's Serbian gangster. They have a shootout, apprehend him, and end up killing Ron Perlman's son, and Ron Perlman, for retribution, destroys Dolph Lundgren's house, presumably killing his daughter and definitely killing his wife. And then Dolph Lundgren goes on revenge, going to Bangkok to hunt him down and destroy this sex trafficking family, mostly for revenge, but also the sex trafficking thing kind of just makes him hate him more, but he was really just there for revenge. And Tony Jaa gets involved also as they team up, even though they do have a cool fight scene. It's kind of like what Batman vs Superman might be like, and they team up to fight against this evil human sex trafficking ring and take them down. It's a little weird, this film. It does deliver all the fun, dumb action I want from it, and it gives me everything I expect from it. And when I say cheap beer, basically like cheap beer, you buy cheap beer because it gets you drunk, and that's about all you want from it. It's not because of the taste. A video on demand kind of B action movie, you're not seeing it because of the dialogue or the plot or anything. You just want to see cool action sequences, and this film does that very well. The Dolph Lundgren Tony Jaa scene is awesome. The Michael J. White Tony Jaa fight is really great, and there's an awesome motorcycle chase where Tony Jaa is going after Dolph Lundgren. This film has everything you want from it, but the sex trafficking thing really holds it back from being enjoyable because it brings up a serious issue, and you're kind of like, is this the most appropriate thing for a dumb action movie? I understand awareness, but I don't think this is the right venue for it, and that's really the biggest problem with this movie. There's even an action sequence that really stops for a second because Dolph Lundgren is running and he comes across all these cages that these women are in, and it's like the whole film like halts for a second. And I was thinking, like, during all the action sequences, well, at least they keep those things separate, and it's like they can't. I do think that is something that is an issue that's a major problem in the world, and if Dolph Lundgren himself could kill all the evil sex trafficking kingpin people, that'd be cool if he did that in real life. In this movie, they're bringing up the issue. They're not really saying anything about it because it really feels like kind of a standard action revenge movie. And like, why couldn't these guys just be guys who like make a lot of cocaine or something? They're bringing up a very evil, sinister villain. It feels like they think they're saying something with this issue, but they're really just like the raising awareness philosophy, which is a great way to not say anything at all. Skin Trade shouldn't be a movie that's saying anything. It should be a movie where I watch Dolph Lundgren get kicked in the face by Tony Jaa. That's like what I want from this movie. And I'm not saying I don't want to learn about how evil this thing is. It's not like I'm trying to ignore the problem and say we shouldn't talk about it. But I am saying is like you should understand when a story is biting off more than it can chew. And Skin Trade is like the biggest example of that I've seen this year. Taking on something this movie should like never in a million years be taking on. This is a silly, fun movie. This movie gets it in its action sequences. It got it in its casting, everything like that. It's just the issue. I don't think it works. It made me think about that. So if one of this film's artistic intents was to do that, I guess it succeeded. I'm not trying to be like arrogant American, but I don't want to get bummed out when I'm trying to watch a B action movie that I'm just seeing to have a lot of fun with. Don't be a total buzzkill when all I'm getting out of this is escapist fun, and that's really what this film was made to do. It's kind of like what it's built to do. Maybe they should have made kind of a different movie, but they clearly just tried to push this issue into it. I really don't like when films do that because it makes you think more about that political issue, but in the end the movie itself suffers from it, and I don't really think that entirely works. You end up morally doing something good, you know, for an issue, but the movie itself ends up being a forgettable mishmash of ideas. Now, the action is awesome. I love seeing Tony Jaa. He's been away for a while, but now that he's back, kind of doing his kind of B action movie thing all over again. I've always had a soft spot for Dolph Lundgren. Maybe it's because when I was a very little kid, I saw Masters of the Universe in theaters, and I'll probably see anytime there's a new movie with him and I have an opportunity to see it, I probably will. He's not the greatest action star in the world. He kind of owns it in this. His face got burned and stuff, and like he looks super awesome in it. Michael J. White, who I also, there's a lot of people in this who I'm like, they were in a bunch of dumb stuff, and there's really no reason I should like them, and they're not great actors, but I just do. Michael J. White, who is great as Black Dynamite and was okay as Spawn, and is an amazing physical performer and really good at action sequences, really held his own with Tony Jaa. He was kind of more of a supporting role. Peter Weller, it's basically like a cameo, but he has such an awesome voice and presence. He made the most of the scenes he was in, but I wish he had been in more stuff. And Ron Perlman is doing his ridiculous kind of B-movie Ron Perlman kind of gangster thing, similar to what he did in Drive, but obviously not as good. And having them all together makes some like really fun, amazing B-movie scenes. As much as it delivers on everything I want it to, as much as it gives me all the action sequences are awesome, and if you love kind of dumb B video on demand action movies, I'd recommend this. When you think of video on demand movies and action movies and how awesome they can be, Skin Trade is trying to do something that these movies weren't meant to do. If you've never seen one of these, I wouldn't recommend it to you. I would ask you to see, like I said, Ninja Shadow of a Tear, which would get you into them and think, oh man, these movies are awesome. Skin Trade is really for people who are already into it, because anyone else is kind of going to be turned off and feel creepy about human sex trafficking. But if you're really into action movies and like Dolph Lundgren, just like me, then I think it's right up your alley. It doesn't suffer from, I think people get sick of the whole action movie thing of, you know, we have this guy and this guy teamed up because the Expendables kind of pushed that to the nth degree. This film doesn't actually have that. It doesn't make me feel sick of it. That's really the highlight of the movie. It's the highlight of why I wanted to see it. It's a fun little enjoyable B action movie. It's just a fun little enjoyable B action movie that's trying to say something that's just really unfortunately not equipped to do. Serious issues are serious issues, but I think if you're gonna do something like that, you should really examine the kind of film you're making and how to best portray that issue, not just kind of try to stuff it into something for people who theoretically, I guess, wouldn't normally be thinking about this type of thing. You're not really blowing anybody's minds. You're just kind of making people not like the movie as much. And ultimately, a movie like this is like cheap beer. It's just for the escapist entertainment and to blow off steam. And if you can't do that with a video on demand action movie, I don't think you've actually succeeded in the kind of movie that the audience is actually asking for. So if you have seen Skin Trade and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.